Come with me on this journey of self growth and exploration of becoming who we are truly meant to be. Our voices may not be the same, but our stories and actions are what truly matter. So while we have the change, let's talk about what's next. Hi guys, welcome to What's Next Conversations with me, your host Shelby Williams. It's glad to see you again. So before we fully jump into the episode, I really want to announce some things that has been going on in my life and how my past couple of weeks have been since I posted the last episode. What really has been going on is first thing, I'm gonna be auntie. My sister is with child. She's having a boy, so I'm gonna be auntie to a nephew. So starting off, I guess like my last year of teens into my 20s, I'm gonna become an auntie. So that's very exciting. Autumn and Colton, if you're watching this, I love you guys, and I'm so happy for you and happy for our families joining together as one, and starting this new journey for all of us, and especially for y'all. And second thing, I have got promoted within my job. I work for like it's a very well known brand for a coffee chain that I got promoted to. So I'm so happy for that, and just excited that I'm starting kind of a new chapter with my work, and growing and going into that role of having more responsibilities and just going more into the company, which has been something that I've been wanting to do. But thank you. Yeah. So but yeah, I'm very excited to start my training and everything that I have to do, but everything is official, and I'm just ready to start my role in helping my coworkers and my peers just grow as human beings, but also grow for the company and the well-being of our store, because we're like a little family. If you guys are actually listening to you, I love you guys. Hold on. I love you. I love you. And I hope that we go on this journey together, where we're whether you're staying with the company or not. I'm glad that we've known each other for like a year and a half that I've been for the company. But I love you guys, and we're a little family. Complete the heart. If you're watching a video. Okay. But let's go ahead and get into the episode. So I got my little my notes right here. So today's episode is really going to be about the social impact on women's views on our standards. So really what I mean by that, when I'm saying that, is when like I feel recently, like I feel like social media has been impacting, how we feel on certain things, or just like learning and growing, especially like with TikToks about, like some people's dating experiences, or just, the dating thing in general, with, the 50-50 on dates, like who's paying for the dates, what you see in the relationship, what you want in a man, like what he's bringing to the table. But now it's kind of being switched a little bit on like, what are you bringing to the table? Instead of, why don't you just bring the table and we both offer up what we have, and not offer up fully, but like kind of say like, this is what I can bring to the table, this is what I'm going to bring to the table, and just kind of fully have a discussion about that. And then so it won't just be like what's one person bringing to the table, instead of it kind of be all in on one person, especially like just it all being on a man. Obviously, we want, to have a man who can provide for us, have a safe environment for us, and then, take care of us and be like a role model and showing us, how we can build, an empire. Really just build an empire together, and that I can thrive with you, you can thrive with me, and we can thrive together, as two wholes coming together, to make like a full house, I guess, in a way. Just to people coming together and to really, grow and challenge each other and challenge our minds. But I feel like that's what I've been seeing. The thing is, like, it really inspires me when I see videos of like women kind of like helping us, helping each other, saying like, this is what you should be looking for. For instance, like you should be looking for a man, like wants to open a door for you, or who like, wants to maybe pay for the couple of first dates, or just seeing a man who truly wants, to learn, everything about you, or just who takes the time to actually put, work into, getting to know us and like going on dates and, planning things out for us, taking us shopping, or just knowing like just being not being like a man, but like being a man and like, being about his masculine and feminine energy to where he's very confident in himself. So about he he's confident really in how he feels about me. He's wanting to treat me. He's wanting to take me out to dinner, for me pasta and lobster. Because he hit me up on a Tuesday, you know what I'm saying? But just really stuff like that, and I've been really seeing that, and it has been inspiring me. Seeing the things that I want to take into account, or just having me think on different perspectives. Really, so this is what it's really about. Having different perspectives and bringing like from different backgrounds and experiences and bringing it together. Discuss that. So that's really what I'm really talking about. But to get into that, I feel like some standards are being made, and not really for everyone, but like standards that are, coming on to other women and like growing that way with, the 50-50, like I just said, like do I go 50-50 on the date, or do I expect him to pay? And some men have been feeling like it's wrong for us to expect them to pay, but in a way, it's not like the whole relationship is going to be like that. But it's showing me money shouldn't have to show you that you care about me or like want to take me on another date. But it shows me that you want to treat me, or just that you feel confident in us going into like another date, or just showing that you can provide something for me with money wise, or just provide for me in general, instead of like us having to go 50-50 all the time, which doesn't mean that he can't fully provide for you. It's just that he can provide for you in different ways. You don't, and he doesn't always have to pay every time. For me, I feel like on that, like, I don't mind going 50-50 to be honest, but like, if like you plan out a date for us, maybe I would want you to pay, you know, or just stuff like that. And I feel like I would want you to pay maybe for the first couple of dates, but then after that we can go 50-50, or maybe like after like we start going into the relationship, or just really when we have the conversation about, hey, like, like I don't mind going 50-50. But that's the thing, you have to kind of not fully bring it up, but bring it up in a way to where you can have that discussion about it. And then from now on, be like, hey, like I want to be able, to treat you and pay for you. And then that's when it becomes a thing where he's wanting to pay, that you expecting him to pay. Not that is anything wrong with you expecting him to pay, but I feel like you shouldn't expect, not that it's a lot that you're expecting out of him, but I feel like if you're able to provide for yourself, you obviously still want him to, be able to provide for you without you having to do anything. You can still provide for yourself. But I feel like it shouldn't necessarily be all on him if you expect it out of him. I feel like if you have a conversation about it, then that's when it comes into play. Like he's wanting to, treat me and, to cater to me. And that's when it becomes a thing, not that you should just expect out of him. Personally, I wouldn't expect it out of him. Like, I would, kind of like look at the, like, I don't know, you know, um, I just feel like I wouldn't expect anything out of him. I feel like once we have, that conversation about it, then that's when, if he says he wants to pay, then that's when, things come about. But for that, I don't know. It really depends on the relationship, because every relationship might not be the same. To where like when you go out shopping, you'd be like, hey, like here's some cash. Like here's some cash. And here's about $100. $100 for you to go shopping. You maybe go get your toes or your nails. Obviously, it's more expensive than that. But just go get your toes and nails done, or maybe just go out to eat. Just do that and have, maybe like a budget, that you're spending together. And he gives you money to go out and go have fun with the girls, or just go out and go get your nails and toes done. But that would be helpful, to be honest. But some people it might be for rent, or just helping out with rent. I may ask, but if you come out to me, be like, hey, like, do you need like a couple $100s for rent? Be like, oh, for real? Okay, I'll take it. Yeah. But even just for that, like helping out with groceries, especially, I mean, if we're not living together, I understand like where it's kind of like, why do you want me to pay rent? But obviously, like, I wouldn't mind if you asked if I needed help. Like with rent, I'm like, hey, like, do you need me to go get you some groceries? Like, hey, let's go grocery shopping. I'll go get you some groceries and like everything that you need for the next couple of weeks. Just like seeing, that you may need help, or just even asking if you don't need help. Just asking, and just communicating about it is the best way to go about it. Because if you don't know, then you're not gonna know. But it also takes a man to want to know. Because just because you don't bring it up doesn't mean like I should have to bring up everything. I should be able to feel like you want to know everything about me, or like you want to be able to do my love language and learn that and learn things about me. As if I'm wanting to learn things about you, that's just me. It may not be you. You can't expect that out of every man to do. There's certain men, who, don't want to learn that. So that's when you really find out, I guess not how down bad they are for you, but like, how how much serious, how serious they are about you wanting to learn, like your coffee order, or like, where you usually go, like what's your favorite spot, like what do you order from there, like that takes time and actually wanting to know things about you. I feel like that's really what I'm looking for. Like I may not tell you what I do, but I know that like maybe if we pull up to the drive through and like I'm about to order, be like, hey, no, I got it. I'm like, okay, cool. And then he says my order outright. I'm like, oh, so now he's been paying attention. And that's really is what very attractive to me. Like when somebody's paying attention. So I pay attention a lot. Like I like to observe people and kind of like listen and kind of hear, you know, and that's just me. And it may not be every woman, or it may not be every man, but just want like seeing the little things. It's the little things that I think us women are wanting. Like we're not wanting a lot, but I guess when we explain, which we shouldn't have to explain ourselves, but sometimes for men you have to explain, put it out. But then the thing is, that's where if he wanted to, he would comes up. Like once you tell him and you explain to him in a way he can understand, and then after that, and if he doesn't try or if he doesn't do it, then that's where if he wanted to, he would comes up. I feel like if you expect it out of him to know if he wanted to, he would, then that's where you're messing up because you shouldn't. He's not a mind reader, and nor are you. So while you're expecting him to mind read instead of, kind of communicating it, which it depends. Like once you get to know the person and kind of see, like, are they the type of person, who wants to learn about me? So I don't have to necessarily communicate it. He already kind of knows. But then, like, some men aren't like that. So then that's where you have to go into the second mode of where you may need to communicate that to him, and then he knows now. So if he wanted to, he would. It's like if he wanted to, he would actually want to learn things about you and like listen and just see how your day-to-day life is. So that's really where that comes in. I feel like we don't expect much out of men, but we at least want them to, want to provide for us, want to, go on small dates and like want them to, do the little things like pay attention to maybe like what I order or like the products I use. or just like surprising me every once in a while in like a romantic date. It doesn't have to be much. Maybe just like I maybe want to, have like my favorite soda, cook like Trader Joe's, and eat some popcorn after and watch a movie and just sit down and relax and watch some anime maybe. I feel like just the small things that we're looking for that I feel like we're not asking too much. Going on small dates or just, maybe relaxing, taking a nice, setting me up with a nice bath when I come home. I've had like a long day at work, or just coming to my house maybe and giving me some flowers and my favorite candy. Be like, hey, like if you're at the stage, like, hey, like I love you, and I just wanted to come surprise you, and it just kind of like ended that. Like then, like just order me my favorite pizza. Like if I'm saying like, oh, like I'm hungry, and like it's kind of like the time like where I get hungry, and like maybe order me some pizza from Uber Eats. Like if you're not in town, or just like, some pasta and lobster. Just little things like that. I feel like that's what we're looking for on that, to where like I really do, listen to women. Like when I say that, like it's just really about the little things. Like what you know what are we looking for? Like what goals do we have? Like where, like what do we see? Like like the road, like plan out a map of like take me on a drive. I heard that, take me on a drive and tell me like this is what we want to do. Like this is the land I want to buy. Like this is like what goals I have, or businesses I want to start. Like just tell me like, did you have a plan? And be like, hey, get ready because we're about to, get into saving mode. And just really small things like that. And I feel like it takes a certain man to do this, but also it doesn't necessarily take a certain man, but it does. Because if you're looking for somebody who's in a different stage in their life, you can obviously help them grow, and become who you see them, who you see that they can be. But also, sometimes, like if you want that, sometimes you may have to go to a man who's already in that stage in his life, and then y'all can grow. If y'all meet together, and then grow from that, rather than having somebody who's maybe not in that stage in their life and then try to help them grow, and then you're kind of like slowing yourself down because like you might be already at that stage, but he's not. So sometimes you have to look for the certain man that you want to where he's already at that stage, instead of trying to make somebody be at that stage. But you're not necessarily making them be at the stage, you're trying to help them grow. But going into like, hey, like I'm gonna change him into the man, you know, that I want him to be, instead of looking for the man that you can actually see him be, instead of putting on what you want on him. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of putting what you want and what the man you're looking for, putting that on him, to making him be somebody who he may not even want to be. You know, instead of doing that, making sure that that's who he actually wants to be, and seeing the little things in him to help him become the man who he who you know who he you know who you see him who you see that he can become. That's what I'm trying to say. So really just something like that is where that comes in. Like we're just helping each other grow and each other thrive, and just learn and become on that journey of like getting money, or just, being wanting to travel, maybe moving in together. Sorry. Moving in together, or just traveling, just different things like that. So I feel like don't try to push something on somebody if they're not ready. No, if they're not wanting to become that, because they may not be ready. So that's where you help them, and you kind of like help them plan out a map, help them plan out a system of how things are going to be, and like what goals we have, and put that together. Put like, hey, like by January we want to be saving like about 5,000, so we can go ahead and start like maybe a hoodie business, or just small businesses that we may want to start, and that we just haven't like had somebody to help us, want us to thrive and achieve those goals. So that's really where that comes in. So really the next thing I have is, for all of that, it really depends on how you meet in the middle. like meeting each other in the middle and making sure, like, for some relationships that may not be what you do. And for other relationships, that might be like, you know, what what attracts you together, like seeing him, achieve his goals and seeing him thrive. Like I'd be like, okay, so that makes me want to, achieve and thrive and, make sure, that I'm there for him and, that we're achieving together. So we can have like an empire together. And so if we do end up separating, like then we've already achieved our goals, separately as separate human beings, but like in a union together. So I feel like that's really where that comes in, like a meeting the middle, just making sure that everybody's being heard and like, like your love languages. That's where that really comes in. And just like the whole like giving gifts and things, like that may not be his love language, like spending all the money, like that may just be like he may just love spending quality time with you. And whether that's going on dates or not, like just the I like really like quality time or just what's the other one I like? Mm, I think the number one really is having quality time because like even like whether it's with relationships or not, I feel like quality time is what I like. Just spending time together. Like we don't have to be spending money. Like I just want to like sit down on the couch, maybe lay in the bed and just like watch TV, watch anime, like eat some popcorn, maybe order some food, but just maybe cook a home meal and eat some good food and watch anime. Like that's what I really love, and that's something that I thrive on. So it may be different for your relationship and how like you do the whole 50-50 thing, or like how like every other date you might pay for it, or just meeting somewhere in the middle to where everybody's being heard, everybody's being seen, and the different things that we may want out of each other that's kind of being communicated to where we meet in the middle on different things and how we want our relationship to be and to thrive. Like that's where that comes in. And to be honest, for that, it also really depends. 'Cause, like we've seen obviously like the old generation, like the newer generation. I feel like the newer generation of women, like for dating, like it's very different. Like from the older generation. Like the older generation, like, like like your man taking care of you. Like that's what he was. He was a provider, like you were usually like a stay at home mom, taking care of the kids, just being taking care of the kids and making sure everything is right with that. And he's like the provider, making sure, everybody's in the house is, fed, providing the money and providing the stability of the household. So that's what that really was. And I'm not to say that it's not like that still. Like some relationships might be like that. Or, some people still may be like that, But really nowadays it's like why we don't have to have a man, to provide for us. Like we can be like our providers ourselves. But that doesn't mean that necessarily as a woman we don't want someone who can provide for us. At some point it kind of not that it gets too lonely, but sometimes it does get lonely. Like you want somebody who can provide for you and who can take care of you, but you don't necessarily need him because you can do that yourself. But it doesn't mean like you don't want someone who can't offer the same things, offer even more. Like have your masculine maybe still be at that level, but go down and like your feminine energy comes up because he's allowing you to have that space and to fully bring out that feminine side of you. So something like that. And I feel like just with knowing that we're worth way more is something that we've been knowing, lately. Like we shouldn't have to deal with this just because society thinks that we have to, or just that's because like that's the old way of thinking. I'm like, oh no, that's not really like a problem or a red flag. Like, no. Like if you don't want to be in this relationship, or like maybe you don't want to be a stay-at-home mom, like you still want to work. I've seen like you see moms like who like have have full businesses and like are still moms. Maybe they work from home still. And they can take care of the children, provide, the stability of the home. And being a stay-at-home mom is really like a full-time job itself. Adding a business onto that, like that's something that you want to do, and that maybe he's glad that you still want to work and still want to do that. So it really depends on the relationship. But just seeing women, not devaluing themselves to meet to a man's standards of who they think they should be, who he makes you think that you should be, and be that for him. Like, no, like I'm gonna be who I am. I shouldn't lower my standards just because you can't meet up to them. That's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna lower my standards just because you feel like that's too much. Maybe too much for you, but for somebody else, it may be, not even that much. And sometimes, like, I've been seeing, like, we're looking so much. Like, men think that we're asking for too much. But once you kind of put it out and lay it down, like, we're really not asking for that much. Like, we feel like that's really like the bare minimum that you can provide for us and that you can do for us, because we're already having to do so much, having to provide, and having to be the emotional support, and having to have a baby for you, not for you, but having to have a child, you know in our stomachs for 9 months, and then you know just providing the emotional stability, and just having to do all that women do, for men. Like, that's the only thing that I'm asking for you. So why do you think that's so much? And if that's so much for you, then that's a you problem. Maybe you need to work on yourself to really see why I'm asking this. And I feel like if you actually sit and see, why, like, just ask yourself, maybe I should get to know why she's asking this from me, instead of just thinking it's too much and that you can't provide it. Because sometimes, like, you just don't want to know the why. You just think that it's too much. Like, okay, no, I'm good. Like, maybe that's a you problem, and at that point, it's not a me. So at that point, you really have to know. Like, you can go, you can leave if you don't want to grow and you don't want to change. You don't want to know why I want these things and why I act a certain way. Because once you fully know why, then you won't think it's so much. You just think like, oh, that's how she is and that's what she wants. So you know what, I'm gonna go and get it and go provide that for her. So that's what most women are looking for a man. Like, we want you to want to go and get and provide for us, so it can take off a load that we're already doing and already having to hold on our backs. Just taking off like a couple pounds off my back, so I won't have to be doing everything all the time. Kind of meeting in the middle, to where maybe like you're doing certain things and I'm doing certain things. Just meeting somewhere in the nice middle line, somewhere in the middle. But really, for men nowadays, let's go into the men. For men nowadays, it's like, the newer generation. Some men have been asking, like, like, what is she bringing to the table? Which I get both sides of, like, the men and women, but, like, the thing is, why does it always have to be like, what am I bringing to the table? Because, like, if you are bringing actually something to the table, then that's when I'm like, okay, like, the question is valid. But then it's like, if you're not even like acknowledging, like, am I bringing something to the table? Then it's like, why are you asking what I'm bringing to the table? That's what I said. Like, just bring, like, somebody, like, you bring the table, and we offer up, or like we kind of communicate, like, here's like what I can bring to the table, and here's what I can bring to the table. So just meeting someone in the middle, and not, like, asking what am I bringing to the table, because in general I'm already bringing something to the table. So why can't you bring the table and provide for me? And if you want to know, I'll tell you what I can provide. And then you know that I can provide probably way more than you can provide. So at that point, like, I don't need you. So like, I get it why you're asking the question, but also like, as a man, I feel like you should be wanting to provide, or that you should really provide. For me, whether it doesn't always have to be financially. It could be emotionally, like having stability in your life, whether it's career goals, like personal, like, are you, close to your family? Like, do you want to have a family? Are you family oriented? Because then it kind of gets into like, if you grew up a certain way, that's why you're asking that question. But if you kind of grew up into like where the old generation was, or like kind of have the same thoughts as the old generation of like where, like, opening my car door is just like something that you do, that your mother has taught you, or just like something that you've always done. Like, open the door for me, like, bring flowers on the first dates, or just, kind of cater to me in a way, like making sure like you're, oh no, I got it, like, oh, like hand him, like hand the waiter like your card, like, no, I got it, I'm good, like, I want to treat you and I want to cater to you. That's just something like how, like, in the old generation, like, that's just something that normally happened. But nowadays it's like, I don't know, it's just different. So that's where the, struggle with, finding, someone to date, and just the dating scene is very different. But also sometimes it's not that complicated. Like, you may be looking for somebody, but sometimes you just may not be in that stage in your life to where that's who you need in your life. I feel like that's where we really need to understand and just kind of be cool with that. Like, what I'm looking for right now may not be for me, but that doesn't mean that I can't, still grow and then eventually be for me. Because anybody can always grow into something and always, change, grow into something, or just grow into the person who they, can be, and who they see they can be, or maybe help somebody else grow into somebody that they can see that they can be. I feel like that's also something that we can provide. Like, we can, you may not be making that much, right? But we can make. I just heard this. We can make that $5 that you have and make it into 500,000. We can see like the good in things, like we can see who you can become. So we provide that, and we help you, and we help you grow into the person who we can see you, who we can see you can become, and who you can be. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're changing you into you know, who you may not want to be. It's just like we can see so many different things. It's how, like, we've become and how society has built us to be, but we can see who you can become. We can see so many different things that you may not be thinking right now. So that's what I can provide for you, is seeing so many different things triple off who I can see you become, and then we can grow, we can thrive together, and then you know it's just, it's not, you know that difficult. It's really simple when you come to the terms of like understanding why we're asking for these different things. But it's not that difficult. Like, if you go, if you listen to me and want to understand why I'm asking for these things, then it doesn't become difficult. Because the thing is, like, once you, like, from the outside view it may look very difficult, but once you actually learn the task, learn the skills, then, like, once you're in it, you don't think it's so difficult, right? So at that point, relate it to like how we feel and like the standards that we have. Why should I lower it? Or why, should you not, want to learn? Because you may be wanting to learn all these other different things, but why is it so difficult when it comes to my standards, learning how I love and how I want to be treated? So really take that into account, you know? Just really, to be honest, take that into account. Like, you want to learn so many different things, but why can't you want to learn why I'm asking for these things. So, to be honest, I think that's what you should really take from this. You know, from a man's perspective or woman's perspective, I feel like just ask why do you want to learn all these other different things, but you can't simply learn why I want this, or just even understand, where I'm coming from. Because you can always, learn so much, but if you don't see it from a different side or a different perspective, then you truly won't grow and you truly won't thrive and learn in different environments, in different spaces. So I think that's really, what I want, I guess men to take from this, to be honest. Like, listen to what I'm saying. If you don't understand, like, at that point, I'm sorry. Like, it's not on me to have to explain everything at that point. You know, like, at that point, just hear what I'm saying, try to understand and try to learn and try to do and grow better, because we're not asking for that much. So, getting into that, that's really it. And to be honest, we can go ahead and wrap up the episode. So, it's been a ride for the episode. So, hopefully, not too many emotions going on. But thank you and have a good one. And, just stay tuned for the next episode. And, hope you learn something from this, in the hope that you can grow and change and just become a better you, and maybe a better, relationship, and actually, see why my girl is asking for this, or like why my man, is asking for this, or asking me why I ask for this. So just communicating, understanding, and, wanting to hear from different sides and different perspectives, and you know, put on my shoes and see how it is. Just really that. So, have a good one, and I love you guys. And, always stay tuned for our stories. Stay tuned for our stories, decisions, and wisdoms. Bye.